Hey everyone, I'm Josh, and in this video I want to talk about codependency and why I believe we should change the way we view this. Because a lot of people view codependency as this absolutely horrible thing. They wager that anyone who is codependent should immediately work on themselves and stop being codependent, which is very difficult to do in practice. That is certainly a much easier said than done type of thing. And I just believe we should all be a bit more forgiving of people who are codependent and instead strive to understand them. Because currently codependency has this really negative connotation to it. And if you look in the dictionary, codependency is basically just where someone kind of can form unhealthy attachments with other people because they'll be a bit insecure, they'll have low self-esteem and whatnot, so they'll kind of rely on other people, they'll attach to them to provide them meaning and fulfillment and that sort of thing, basically to provide them that healthy boost to their self-esteem. So when you think about it, it isn't even that horrible of a definition. I mean, of course, the unhealthy attachment part is pretty judgmental, right? But hey, that's a definition of it, so it does mean that for the most part, these attachments may not be the best thing out there. But again, who's to say what is healthy and unhealthy? Now, the problem with codependency, and to me, this is really the main issue with it, why so many people view it in a bad light, is when a codependent person forms their unhealthy attachment with someone who is controlling or manipulative. In fact, the dictionary definition literally calls that out. They say people who form unhealthy attachments often with people who are controlling or manipulative. Therein lies the problem, right? The unhealthy attachments aren't the worst thing out there in and of themselves, because here's the thing, if you form that unhealthy attachment, and I keep saying unhealthy, but I'm using the dictionary definition, but if you form that attachment with someone who's actually secure, is that a problem? Like really, can anyone tell me forming an unhealthy attachment with someone who is secure would actually be an issue? Like, would it? No, there you go. This is why I don't believe codependency is this horrible problem. The problem is when codependent people aren't taught how to maneuver their codependency and how to choose better partners. That's the issue. Because of course, if you form that attachment with someone who is bad, controlling, manipulative, that is not good at all. And in fact, I've dated some women who unfortunately did just that, and it made me think that codependency was this horrible thing because, again, I was watching how they were doing it with manipulative partners, and it was bad. But I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self to think a bit differently and not be so judgmental, because I was viewing the woman as being like messed up and broken, when really it's just more so that she was choosing the wrong person. She hadn't worked on herself enough to be able to spot the warning signs of when someone is not the type of person you want to attach to. So that's the whole issue with codependency, if you ask me. It's when people aren't trained properly on how to spot the good partners out there, and instead they opt to go for someone who is not good for them, someone controlling, manipulative, or probably avoidant. Because anxious attachment style people who tend to be more codependent, it's basically an attribute of being anxious attachment for the most part. They don't always go hand in hand, but they often do. These people will often end up attaching to avoidant people because there's just something about that, right? Anxious people will usually form attachments to avoidance because it kind of reminds them of the way they were loved while growing up. They had people keeping them at arm's length, kind of pushing them away, kind of letting them know that they don't really matter to them, and it's not good, right? So that's the way they start to view love. They think this is what love is, being kept at arm's length by someone, not really ever being told that they really love having you around or that they even love you. So anxious people will then start pursuing avoidance because that's what they're used to. And also, there's this weird thing there where that can kind of make them feel a bit of excitement when they're being ignored like that. So if a secure person comes into their life and is being real with them and showing them that they're interested in them and that they don't really think there's anything wrong with them and that they would love to include them in their life and help tackle their problems with them, anxious people could actually look at that and find the secure person boring or unexciting because they're not triggering that inner fight or flight, that anxiety within them. And that anxiety is what they come to attribute with love, or associate, should I say. So when they're not feeling that anxiety around someone who's secure, they think, oh, I'm not in love with this person. But no, love is not anxious like that. Like, love is more like a calm, peaceful feeling, like you being able to fully trust the other person, know that you can rely on them for anything, and knowing that they actually truly care about you and will be there for you. That's more akin to what love is. There's no anxiety there, right? It's more a knowing. You know that this is a solid and reliable person. So when an anxious person starts confusing that anxiety for love, it can easily mean that they're going to pick an avoidant person to pursue, or someone controlling or manipulative, and it's bad. So if you fall into that category of being anxious attachment and you do feel a bit of codependency in your relationships, know that this isn't something wrong with you. There are plenty of other people out there who feel the same way. In fact, they wager that about 25% of the population have anxious attachment styles, so you are not alone by any means. And again, this isn't something wrong with you. It's just more a product of the way you were raised, and probably your parents not doing the best job they could. So that's on them, not so much on you. What is on you is working on yourself enough to develop those attachments with the right people. Remember, being codependent, not the worst thing in the world. It's only bad if you're using that attachment on bad people, controlling, manipulative, and avoidant people. I shouldn't say avoidant people are bad. They're really not. It's just more, they're not the right person for you. If you are anxious attachment, you do not want to be with an avoidant person. It's like oil and water. They just don't mesh together because they're not going to be capable of giving you the love that you want to receive. So your best bet is to try to find a secure attachment style person. So now you're probably wondering, well, Josh, how the heck do I find a secure person? And well, I can't really speak to where you can find them. I can speak to what qualities you should pay attention to so you can know whether or not someone actually is secure. And what you'll want to pay attention to is the way they respond to intimacy. If they are someone who actually has no issues with intimacy, meaning they're not like holding back, they're not hesitant, they don't start pulling away when things start becoming more intimate between you and them, that is a good sign that this person is probably secure. Because that tends to be a quality of avoidant people, where they pull away once intimacy starts ramping up because they don't really want it. They view it as an affront to their freedom, and they desire their freedom more than they want that human connection with someone else. And again, that has to deal with their upbringing and whatnot. So you don't want to go for people who start pulling away like that. They can easily play with your emotions, and again, you can confuse that anxiety for love, but it isn't love. Someone who truly loves you isn't going to keep you at arm's length. They're not going to push away like that. That's not what you should be looking for. You should be looking for someone who can actually cultivate your love, hold space for your love, and reciprocate your love. That's what you want, and that's something that secure people will be capable of doing. But in general, secure people are usually going to be a lot more mature. They're going to be less judgmental. They're just going to be more open-minded around you, and they'll be the kind of person that you can kind of talk to about nearly anything and everything, and they're not going to get mad at you if you bring up like politics or something. Basically, the biggest sign of a secure person is going to be their maturity. Like, you will be able to talk to them about tons of different subjects. They'll take the time to understand you and get to know you without being judgmental and jumping to conclusions. So that's what you want to be paying attention to, all those signs of maturity and someone being in tune with their emotions. Usually, these are all qualities of secure attachment style people. So if you find someone like that, please pursue them. Like, these are going to be the best people out there for you. And remember, you got to remind yourself that if you aren't feeling anxiety in their presence, that doesn't mean that you don't love them or that there isn't the capacity for you to end up loving them over time. That anxiety that you confuse with love is not exactly what you should be looking for. That anxiety is not love. So when you aren't feeling that anxiety, that is a very good thing here. You want to pay attention to that. You want to make sure that the people that you're dating do not make you feel anxious all the time. And of course, that may be easier said than done for the most part if that anxiety is something that's kind of part of the way that you date, if you often feel it. But you should be able to tell when someone's secure, because they'll be able to hold space for you and kind of answer your questions and answer your fears and calm you down by showing you that they're not going to leave you for someone else or cheat on you or other horrible things like that your anxiety may make you believe that they will do. They'll basically just, as much as possible, try to assure you that everything is okay, that things will be fine. That's what secure people will do. But anyway, this video is getting kind of long, and I pretty much touched on everything I wanted to discuss in it about how codependency really doesn't seem like this horrible thing to me. It's just more something you have to be aware of and know how to navigate so that it doesn't become a detrimental part of your life. Because if you form that unhealthy attachment with a secure person, it really won't be unhealthy anymore, because they'll be able to assure you, hold space for you, and basically just love you for who you are. So It's not a horrible thing to me. Just make sure you don't beat yourself up if you are codependent. Don't listen to other people and they put you down for it either. And also know that with a secure person, they can help you become less codependent. So you may still be dependent on them, which isn't an issue at all. Like, that's normal in relationships, but at least maybe you'll lose that unhealthy part of the attachment. But again, who's to say what the heck is truly healthy or unhealthy? I don't even know. That would require another definition within that dictionary definition so that we know the semantics of what the heck they're talking about there. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to make this video. I hope it was helpful, and if so, feel free to leave a like on it for the algorithm. That truly helps me out. Subscribe if you enjoy content like this, because I'll be making plenty more videos. And also, I have coaching calls available, so if one-on-one coaching with me is something that interests you, I have a link to my website down below where you can reach out to me and we can work on this with you. I can literally help you work on easing that codependency so you can kind of lose the part of it and just keep the dependency aspect, which is perfectly fine. There isn't an issue with that whatsoever. Or I could even help you work on just navigating that codependency or being able to spot the signs of someone being a good partner for you. All those things I can help you out with. So yeah, feel free to reach out if that interests you. But that's all I have for you guys in this video. Truly hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Arrivederci.